and that'll take your money right back.
You're a criminal. Why do I got to address you? The feds need to address you. DOJ need to address you, and hopefully Donald Trump will address you. Because you're going to protect the undocumented while you're going to allow for the citizens in Chicago to suffer.
Y'all come on. You leave that loser where he is. He's a loser. He's a loser.
How is this going to work? So how will it work?
Well, look, I think the president's been clear on the stage. As far as the deportation operation, we will prioritize public safety threats and national security threats because they pose the biggest danger to the United States. He's got three rails. So we'll do the deportation operation with the priorities I just talked to you out of the gate. That'd be the priorities. Second thing is secure that border. Lock that border down and catch and release and secure the border. The third rail is we got over 300,000 missing children. Over 500,000 children have been trafficked into the United States. This administration released them to unvetted sponsors, and they can't find 300,000 of them. And based on my 3.5 decades, some of these children are in forced labor. We already found some in forced labor. Some are in forced sex trafficking. Some are living with pedophiles. We need to save these children. So that's going to be the third rail.
So as you saw from the intro, you got Tom Homan, who is the new incoming border czar for Donald Trump, and his thoughts about how he's going to tackle the immigration issue. The first intro that you saw was Chicago citizens lambasting Brandon Johnson for his stance on protecting illegals. And the Democrats are trying to create this resistance against Trump's agenda. You got I think the Illinois governor also said that he will shelter in illegals. You got people San Francisco, California. It doesn't matter. All these blue states in unison are saying that they're going to protect illegal immigrants, right? And they say migrants. They play these little word games when the reality is Trump is trying to go after illegal immigration. As you saw in the intro, Holman pointed out, hey, these are the three things that we have concerns about with illegal immigration. And this is what he's trying to solve. But the Democrats, for some reason, they keep trying to blend legal migrants with illegal migrants because because the reality is they're trying to hide the reality of what they're doing. So let's go over Trump's plan to confirm the U.S. Military assets for deportation, and then I'll follow up with a in the moment reaction to a conversation with a CNN panel. Trump responds to the Truth Social Post after Judiciary Watch President Tom Fenton saying that the second Trump administration was prepared to declare a national emergency and use military assets to reverse the Biden invasion through the mass deportation program. The emergency declaration on the border would follow one Trump made during his first administration, which he announced on February 15, 2019. As he fought with Democrats in Congress over border security, now he's fighting with Democrats over deportation, like actually working with ICE. Like, imagine that. ICE said, hey, we just want law enforcement to work with us to get illegals that already committed crimes so we can deport them. Blue states don't even want to do that. So what is the priority of these blue states? Like, they make it make sense. Like, imagine even Justin Trudeau, yes, Justin Trudeau is limiting immigration in his country. Give me a sec. Give me 1 second and let me find this article. Prime Minister Trudeau admits mistake in immigration policy. The Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has admitted that his government made mistakes in its immigration policy, which led to bad actors like fake colleges and big corporations exploiting the system for their vested interest. Wow. He wants to pause immigration, but for some reason, Trump wants to do that and deport these people out because we see people taking advantage of the system. We found out that for migrants coming in, the illegal migrants coming in, 400,000 of them committed crimes before. Criminals. You got Tende de Agua in Chicago, possibly about to start a gang war with American gangs in Chicago, taking over apartment buildings in Colorado. These people are dangerous. These illegals, the ones that happens to be criminals, 400,000 of them were let in over the border with no background check, no investigation, nothing. Just here's a paper, see you soon, and released back into the country. Where in the world does that make sense? We're going to confront the national security crisis at our southern border, and we're going to do that one way or the other, he said at the time. We have an invasion of drugs, criminals coming into our country. Trump later vetoed a resolution from Democrats in Congress opposing the declaration, which allowed him to fund border wall construction. His administration was sued by Democrat state attorneys generals and leftist groups who claimed that the declaration was unconstitutional. Like, these people will go through any links to stop Trump from doing this. And the question is why? Like, why? And we know why. If you're a Republican, you know why. The reality is they see these illegals as Democrat voters. Every time they see an illegal cross the border, that they think in their mind that's one Democratic voter that we have just gained into the country that's gonna help us in 5 years. Currently, what I already told you about the game with the census, you get electoral votes based on your census. The bigger your population, the more the more weight your state carries in the electoral college. California has 54 electoral colleges. And my argument has been, and this is the argument of many conservatives, if you remove illegals from being counted in the census and you only count American citizens, I bet you California loses a lot of electoral votes. I bet you Chicago loses some electoral votes. I bet you Boston loses some electoral votes because a lot of their census is made up of people who are not allowed to vote. So why are we counting people who can't vote into our electoral college? Make it make sense. If only American citizens can vote in our election, why do we count non-American citizens as part of the census to give more weight to one state over the other? Because one state decides we want to bring in more illegals into our state by making sanctuary cities compared to another city. Like, that make no sense. This is the argument people are having. And this is the game. This is the real game, right? And to highlight how vastly different the border policies of Biden and Trump are, I want to show you a hearing from Lincoln Riley's murderer's roommate who told the court that he got to Georgia through taxpayer-funded flights. Let's take a look.
Got to know that you lived with while you were here in Athens.
¿Alguien más que llegaste a conocer que vivió con ustedes aquí en Athens?
Giancarlo Hernández.
Giancarlos Hernández.
And how did you get to Athens?
¿Y cómo llegaron a Athens?
En Nueva York pedimos en Manhattan.
In New York, we asked in Manhattan.
En el Hotel Roosevelt.
And Hotel Roosevelt.
De Manhattan pedimos un vuelo humanitario aquí hasta Atlanta.
In Manhattan, we requested for a humanitarian flight to come here to Atlanta.
And when was that?
¿Y cuándo fue eso?
Como de 9 a 10 de septiembre.
Around the 9th, 10th of September.
And where did you go when you arrived in Athens?
Y cuando llegó a Athens, ¿a dónde fue?
Al aeropuerto airport.
To the airport.
Al aeropuerto de Atlanta.
Airport.
Jackson Airport.
So imagine that, right? When people say, oh my God, Biden out here getting illegals free flights. Remember, that was a whole story where, like, people not speaking English, they're handing flight attendants papers and they're, oh, okay, they're supposed to be on this flight. People are complaining about, hey, these large swath of people are just in the airport waiting for a flight. Our tax money is going to moving illegals through flight instead of through the southern border. Democrats made a whole hoopla about this stuff. And it just goes to show, look, Democrats have a political interest in preserving illegals in our country. Even Justin Trudeau, who's in Canada, realized that, damn, I made a mistake. Housing prices are up. Competition for housing is up because we have so much migrants in here, so much not illegals, but so much immigration in here. Mass immigration hurts a country regardless of its legal, illegal, right? Because Trudeau's talking about legal avenues that people come into his country and they're causing a drastic impact. Imagine people who are not vetted, who didn't came here legally, and they're coming through the border illegally. You don't think they'll have the same effect without the vetting process? Make it make sense. But, Trump wants to solve the solution. He wants to use the military as a resource to help with deportation. And you're going to see these CNN panelists, these liberals on this panel, defend desperately. And I already told you, I already outlined the motive. The motive is these people see illegal immigrants as Democrat voters. And the fact that we're going to deport these guys, they see us as kicking out votes. And they can't have that, so they'll find any reason to justify it. This is the lens that I'm looking at their stances from. But I digress. Let's get into the video.
some of this and think about this.
The
in
challenge of
different ways.
sorting through them is mammoth. We had a hard time doing it in Iraq. Okay, our troops have had a hard time doing it in Afghanistan. Trying to ask them to sort through who's who and implement a policy like this, here in the United States is like nothing we've ever seen.
Actually,
I mean, hold on, maybe the only precedent we have is internment camps during World War II against Japanese Americans, but there's not a military precedent for sorting through who on the Upper East Side is an illegal and who's not. And you're asking a 19-year-old, right, holding a weapon, who signed up to serve his or her country, to thrust themselves into maybe the most fraught political topic that we've got in this country. People want a solution, but they don't necessarily want that one.
You've twice now insinuated that Trump's going to send the military to round up American citizens.
Before Scott and Jenny start cooking, America wants solutions, but they don't want that one. What is this guy talking about? Did this guy read a poll? Did this guy ever read statistics? How many times on this channel have I quoted the stat that most Americans believe that we should mass deport illegals out of the country? 54% of Americans believe in mass deportation. Like, you go look it up. You can look up the data. You'll find it. Most Americans are in agreement with this. Trump won damn near on an electoral landslide based on this issue. And here he is pretending that, oh my God, Americans are so concerned. No. Liberals, Democrats are concerned about mass deportation because I already hinted out the motive, the political motive. Democrats have a political motive to try to keep illegals in this country, even if it's at the expense of higher housing costs for the citizens here, competition for labor, supply and demand. The more resources that come in, the more people that come in through a town, the less the wages go down because there's more competition. The employer has his pick of the litter. And yet he's going to sit here and pretend that there's no cause. There's zero cause of having immigrants, mass migration coming into the country. And you don't want to deport even the criminals. Democrat states are fighting ICE to not even allow criminals to get deported. Make it make sense. Because at the end of the day, you don't prioritize the safety of your citizens. You prioritize the leverage and control of your party. You want more power for your party, and you see the illegals as a way of getting that. And just be more upfront about it, Democrats. This is what we all know. This is what you really want. This is what you're really doing. This is all political. But I digress. Let's Scott cook.
Which is totally false. There are 1.3 to 1.6 million illegal immigrants in this country today who have already received deportation orders from a court. You can start there. There's another population, as Mark said, that have either committed violent crimes in the United States or committed violent crimes where they came from. You can also do that. That has nothing to do with the people in your neighborhood, has nothing to do with the person in your office, and has nothing to do with whatever the hell you're talking about. It has to do with getting people out of the country who do not belong.
How are you going to deploy the military? Give me how exactly you would deploy an active duty military unit to respond to this crisis.
I would use the military in conjunction with local officials,
what does that look
local
like?
law enforcement, county sheriffs, people who know their communities, because I assume a lot of the local sheriffs and jailers are going to be the people who end up housing some of these folks before they are deported. But there has
What's
to be
the task
some
and purpose? What's the mission for that young private?
Bro, it's like asking, hey, SWAT, how you know where the drug dealers are at? You get investigators, right? If you want, like, this is what he's talking about, working with the police. Because the same way that the FBI coordinates with the police department to find financial fraud, to get information on a more local level, a more specified level, the military can literally do the same thing. But this guy is just trying to create a wedge point just to find a path to disagree with Scott Jennings. Right? Because my thing has always been, what is the purpose? What is the purpose of doing mass deportation? To take the considerations of the American people, because that is what an American government should be doing, looking at the interests of its people. And does illegal immigrants, allowing people to come here who already committed crimes, Lincoln Riley as an example, that your programs, your how you say it, your lenient stance on the border allow domino effect the guy the opportunity to go to Athens, Georgia, and commit a crime because you funded his flight through taxpayer money to get to Georgia where he committed the crime. If we were tough on the border from the begin with, it would have been a preventative measure. This is the consequences of open borders. This is the consequences of Biden's border policy. And you're not offering any other solutions. All you're offering is criticism. And this has been the number one critique that many people have of the Democratic Party, especially people that I talk to. They say, they just say, but Trump bad, Trump bad, Trump bad. It's the same criticism people used to say about the Republican parties in the 2010s. Obama bad, Obama bad, Obama bad. And everyone's like, yeah, that's not really an appealing message. When Trump came on the scene, one of the reasons why Trump won the primary in 2015 was the fact that he offered a vision, the border wall, while all the Republicans were saying, not Democrat, not Democrat, not Democrat. Everyone was like, yo, Trump has a vision. Trump has something that I can actually see into the future. I can actually, okay, this is what I want. And that's how Trump won the primary in 2016. And now the Democrats in 2024 are doing the same damn mistake they're doing that the Republicans did in 2010. But I digress. Let's finish off the video.
What is he actually going to be tasked to do? Guard a gate? Or is he going to be investigating?
I don't know. I wasn't elected
But you're sitting here on CNN saying we should do it. I think you should think out a little bit more about what they actually should be required to do.
Who do not belong
It sounds real good.
One at a time. Scott, quickly.
There are millions of people who came into the country illegally, who have already received deportation orders, or who have committed some other crime while they've been here. The fact that you want to leave them in place is mind-boggling.
That is not what I said. That is not what I said.
Let me ask the same question I asked Chuck.
Yeah.
What was the mandate from the election? As much as any issue, immigration was on the ballot. So what do you think the voters were saying on immigration?
I think the voters were saying do something about it. I think broadly across partisan lines, there is almost universal need for people to do something about it.
What that is I already know where he's going. But you're not offering an alternative. That's the problem. Right? If someone has an answer, you don't have an answer, we're going to go with the person who has the answer. Okay, at least you have something. You don't got nothing. All you got is criticism. Yeah, no plan is perfect. Yeah, every plan has trade-offs. Every approach has trade-offs because that's what life is about. Life is about trade-offs. There's no silver lining. There's no silver bullet. There's no silver bullet. When you make a decision, you reject another one. When you pick one job, you reject the other jobs. When you pick one wife, you reject all the other women. Is this like end of the day alternative? What is the alternative? What is the alternative approach? And y'all don't have it. Y'all don't got the answers. Trump had the answers. That's why Kamala Harris lost.
What you do about it is a totally different story. Can I finish? Or are you guys going to jump in every single time? I know this is like the normal thing around
some of this. And think about this.
Yeah, I mean, this is what they're throwing a hissy fit over. We all know the motive. But this is not sustainable. Right, look, I have determined that the declaration of a national emergency at our southern border was unwarranted. I have also announced that it shall be a policy of my administration that no more American taxpayer dollars should be diverted to a construction of the border wall. This was what? President Biden revokes the emergency declaration on his first day in office as he reversed many of Trump's immigration policies. Trump, like literally, Biden set us up for this situation. And the fact that Trudeau, who I would consider more left-wing than Biden, admits that he made a mistake with his immigration policies, saw how people were taking bad actors. You don't think the illegal immigration, these people who are illegally immigrating into our country are bad actors and they're trying to take advantage of our kindness, right? You don't think vested interests are exploiting the system for their own gain? The Democratic Party, sanctuary cities, using them to increase their population numbers so that way they get a big, more power in the electoral college. You don't think that's a vested interest that the Democratic Party has? But they try to hide behind we're so sympathetic to the struggles of immigrants. Yeah, okay. Because they benefit you politically. Let the stat come out and say, illegal immigrants cater more to Donald Trump or the Republicans, and see how fast Democrats go back to how they were in 2008. But I digress. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, what you guys are thinking about Trump using the National Guard to deport for mass deportation. Do you agree with it? Don't agree with it? What alternative solutions you see that Trump could possibly do rather than deploy the military? I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate you guys watching the end of the video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.